The blood moon descended. Zombies ran rampant. I decided to just give up and lie flat. My studio apartment was ambitious. It actually evolved and directly carried me to the peak of my lazy life. The Ghost Festival 2056. A blood moon hung in the sky. As far as the eye could see, there were panicked crowds everywhere. Out-of-control vehicles crashed into each other, and explosive flames instantly flared up. Watching the news reporter on TV, getting her neck bitten off by a zombie. With blood splattering everywhere, I slumped onto the sofa. My hands and feet were icy cold, shaking uncontrollably. With my weak physique, forget about fighting zombies. Even a slight drop in temperature could give me a cold and a fever. I thought, rather than living in fear every day, I might as well volunteer to become a zombie right now. I grabbed a mop from the kitchen and tiptoed over to the peephole. Looking through it, I found my next-door neighbor, walking in a bizarre, twisted posture, with leftover flesh still hanging from his mouth. My scalp went numb. How could I dare to step outside? Blame it on me being a single dog. Apart from a few boxes of instant noodles, I had absolutely nothing else at home. Just wait for death. Embracing this fatalistic belief, I lay in bed and slept peacefully. Early the next morning, I decided to cook myself a luxurious bowl of noodles, 2 sausages and an egg. Consider it a tribute to my life as a doctor making $3,000 a month. I stared at the steaming noodles and wept silently. If only I could take a sip of an ice-cold Coke right now. Unfortunately, the Coke in my fridge was long gone. Just as I was thinking this, a dripping sound echoed. Following the sound into the kitchen, I saw a dark liquid resembling cola flowing from the faucet. With the mindset that I'm going to die eventually anyway, I stuck out my index finger, took a drop, and licked it. It really tasted exactly like Coke. Has the faucet become sentient? Give me some Sprite. Oh my God, it actually changed. Over the next 3 days, I realized it wasn't the faucet that became sentient, but my entire apartment had evolved. So far, I discovered the faucet could dispense on demand. Cold water, hot water, Coke, Sprite, coffee, milk, etc. The closet could manufacture clothes that were not only fireproof, waterproof, and lightning-proof, but also able to withstand polar freezing temperatures. The fridge updated its food daily at midnight, randomly grabbing items from nearby locations, while everyone else was struggling to survive the apocalypse. I was leisurely munching on potato chips, lying on the sofa. I officially activated my lie flat mode after chilling at home for a few days. Just as I was about to enjoy a steak, a dull thud suddenly came from the front door. I leaned into the peephole, meeting a bloodshot, horrifying eye. Outside the door, my zombie neighbor was smashing his head against the door, making loud thump-thump noises. "Mr. House, save me." As soon as the words left my mouth, a machine gun appeared out of thin air outside the door. A silver bullet accurately pierced the zombie's head. The zombie exploded on the spot, turning into ashes. However, the danger wasn't over. The explosion attracted more zombies. A dark swarm of them jammed the hallway. With Mr. House taking action, they exploded one after another on the spot, like a gorgeous fireworks display. That day, massive power outages began across the city. The air became sticky and boiling hot. Curious, I asked Mr. House to project a thermometer. Just as I opened the window, a scorching heat wave hit me hard. The outdoor temperature had soared to 50 degrees Celsius. The zombies on the streets became unusually agitated, their roars echoing continuously. If it wasn't for Mr. House, I'd probably be one of them by now. A cold, mechanical voice echoed in my ears. eliminating enemies for you. The machine gun reappeared. Bullets pierced the skulls of the zombies downstairs. After the explosions, only shimmering crystal cores were left on the ground. The next second, those crystal cores appeared out of thin air right in front of me. Wow! Telekinesis? Mr. House, you upgraded again. My eyes lit up. Does that mean you have a humanoid form? A flash of light passed by, and a tall, elegant figure suddenly materialized. As you wish. I took a deep breath. Mr. House, you really became sentient. And you're this handsome? Mr. House didn't speak. He just handed me a zombie crystal core and used his eyes to signal me to eat it. I asked hesitantly. Can I really eat this thing? Mr. House nodded. I picked up the crystal core, still too scared to put it in my mouth. This came out of a zombie's brain. Could it carry the zombie virus? Place it against your forehead, Mr. House reminded me. Half doubting, I pressed the crystal core to my forehead. In just 2 or 3 seconds, a wave of coldness seeped into my skin. The crystal core disappeared. At the same time, I could clearly feel a surge of energy flowing through my body. I couldn't help but hold out my hand, and a small, transparent ice crystal appeared in my palm. Mr. House, is this an ice element superpower? I asked excitedly. Yes, his voice was steady. In this chaotic world, if you want to protect yourself, the best way is to become an Esper. Usually, gaining superpowers meant surviving pollution, radiation, or a zombie bite. And the survival rate was only 5%. But I merely used one crystal core and awakened an ability. Mr. House, you are my god. I threw myself at him excitedly. I thought I would hit a cold, mechanical body. But I touched something warm. My ear pressed against his chest, hearing his heartbeat. Isn't he supposed to be a robot? 1 month later, tsunamis had submerged massive areas of land. Humanity's living environment became increasingly harsh. If I didn't have Mr. House, I'd undoubtedly be dead. Mr. House's daily routine: killing zombies, cooking and cleaning the house. My daily routine: waking up, eating, and binge-watching TV shows. Today's breakfast is toast and milk. Do you need anything else added? That's plenty. Taking a bite of the bread, I suddenly looked up. Mr. House, do you think I should go out and explore the world a bit? Dangerous, Mr. House answered instantly. I have superpowers now too, you know. Killing 1 or 2 zombies shouldn't be a problem. After absorbing so many crystal cores, I'm actually quite curious about my true strength. Very strong, Mr. House was a man of few words as always. But what if there's an emergency in the future? And you're not around? I have to be able to protect myself. No need, he looked at me. His tone absolute. I will always be here. That one sentence filled my heart with complete and utter safety. After breakfast, I went back to lounging on the sofa like a salted fish. Eating, sleeping, sleeping, eating. Plus a super handsome guy taking care of everything for me. This apocalyptic life was simply too comfortable. Endless thunderstorms had lasted for weeks. Raindrops pattered loudly against the windows, acting as a natural barrier that isolated us from the chaos and roars outside. It's not that survivors hadn't passed by during these days. There were always people hoping to get lucky and loot some supplies. Fortunately, Mr. House used his powers to hide the entrance, saving us a lot of trouble. It wasn't that I was afraid to fight. I just preferred peace and quiet. The moment the rain stopped, sunlight pierced through the clouds. I was holding a bucket of popcorn, deeply engrossed. in my favorite variety show. Just as I was absorbed in the cast's strategic games. Crash, the sound of shattering glass came from the balcony. Two silhouettes suddenly appeared. I abruptly stood up. Who's there? To be able to break through Mr. House's defense system, their superpower levels must not be low. The two walked into the living room and stood before me. Both of their faces bore fresh scrapes, and their combat uniforms were stained with dark blood. The man leading them stood as straight as a pine tree. I deeply apologize for breaking in like this. We mean no harm. I am Liu Daong, captain of Central Base Squad A. This is my teammate, Yang Tianzhen. We are here to deliver a highest-level emergency evacuation order. An evacuation requires breaking windows? I asked in confusion. Liu Daong's expression was solemn. We couldn't approach your home using conventional methods. Out of the corner of my eye, I glanced at Mr. House. Strange. Why didn't Mr. House stop them right from the start? As if sensing my doubt, Mr. House stepped closer to me and placed 3 faintly glowing purple crystal cores into my palm. His voice was calm and unwavering. Fight him, and you'll know your true strength. It turned out Mr. House always remembered what I said, that I wanted to find a worthy opponent to test my skills. I looked at Liu Daong. His clothes were covered in blood. He was clearly injured. Fighting him right now would be taking unfair advantage of him. Liu Daong's eyes were locked onto that purple glow. Behind him, Yang Tianzhen gasped sharply, his voice trembling. See, Captain. Are those from the 3 mutant lords in the city center? Liu Daong raised a hand to stop him, but the shock in his eyes couldn't be concealed. He looked at me, speaking faster, yet still clearly. Miss, the situation is far more severe than it appears. Underneath Liming City, we detected a highly active mutation source. Conventional methods are completely ineffective. The base's high command has decided that in 7 days, there will be an indiscriminate bombing of the entire city. He paused. Outside the window, the long-lost sunlight was pouring in unobstructed. It was almost dazzling. This entire area will be wiped off the map in 7 days. 7 days, I muttered to myself. I had finally achieved my ideal salted fish life. And now my house was going to be bombed? Mr. House, throw them out. Rather than being bossed around and fleeing to some unfamiliar settlement, I'd rather stay right here with Mr. House. Wait, please reconsider. Liu Daong took a step forward, his tone urgent but sincere. The base will absolutely prioritize the living standards of high-tier fighters like you. The accommodation assigned to you will definitely be no worse than here. I guarantee it with my honor as a soldier. Before he could finish his sentence, he and Yang Tianzhen beside him were thrown out the window by an invisible force. I turned my head, my eyes tearing up. Mr. House, is this the end for the two of us? Mr. House retained his calm and composed demeanor. He handed me a tissue to wipe my tears. Don't cry, hearing that gentle voice. I felt even more tragic. We only have 7 days left. Let me think about how we should spend them. Mr. House shook his head. The house is merely a vessel. We can find another one. I snapped my head up, staring at him. You can do that? Why didn't you say so earlier, before I could digest this? There was a commotion from the balcony. Liu Daong and Yang Tianzhen had actually climbed back in. They looked even more battered than before, but their backs were still perfectly straight. Liu Daong stared at me with burning intensity. The base needs your strength. Your very existence is a beacon of hope. I looked at them, covered in wounds. yet refusing to give up. Then looked at the ever-steady, seemingly omnipotent Mr. House beside me. Sunlight filled the living room. A bit warm and slightly dazzling. Fine. We'll go with you. After agreeing, Liu Daong went out to execute his orders, leaving Yang Tianzhen behind to brief me on the outside world and the base. That afternoon, noises kept filtering in from outside. I pulled back the curtains and saw a small group gathered downstairs. They wore uniforms identical to Liu Daong's. Within the group, I could vaguely see elderly people supporting each other and terrified children. Mr. House, how many survivors are left in this area? Data streams flickered faintly in Mr. House's eyes. 537 people, that's all that's left. Yang Tianzhen had approached me at some point. Sister, aren't we letting them come up? We have supplies here. And it's safe. I withdrew my gaze and looked at him, my tone calm. So, because they are weak and I am strong, I have an obligation to protect them? Because I have food and resources, I must act like a charity warehouse and share with everyone who sees me. And how do you know that once they get in here, they won't harbor other dark intentions? Faced with my barrage of questions, Yang Tianzhen couldn't answer a single word. I'm sorry, sister. I was wrong, just go wait over there. I've never been some bleeding heart saint. Nor do I believe in the so-called goodness of human nature, especially in this apocalypse. Once Yang Tianzhen walked away, I darted back to my room and picked up a novel to calm down. Are you still angry? I looked up at the source of the voice. Mr. House brought in my favorite snacks. I'm not angry. It's just a difference of opinion, that's all. Yang Tianzhen had never been beaten down by society. Right at the start of the apocalypse, he awakened powers. And he came from a privileged background. Pursuing ideals is understandable for him. But I'm not like him. I am an orphan. I've seen too much of the coldness of human nature. Trust and sharing, those are luxury goods. Mr. House sat silently beside me. He didn't speak, but his presence completely soothed my restless heart. Half an hour later, a piece of paper densely packed with words was slid in from under the door. I picked it up. It was an apology letter. Signed, Yang Tianzhen. I opened the door, and he was standing stiffly outside. His face flushed red. Sister, I'm sorry. In this apocalypse, no one is obligated to be nice to anyone. I shouldn't have forced my views onto you. Seeing him look like he was about to spontaneously combust, the last bit of my annoyance dissipated. All right, I forgive you. He let out a long breath of relief and followed me to the balcony to catch some breeze. After a moment of silence, his tone turned serious. Sister, don't worry, once we get to the base, I'll definitely have your back. He wasn't bluffing about that. The uncompromising vice commander in the base's high command was his biological father. A few peaceful days passed. Then, a piercing alarm blared without warning, followed by a cold, automated broadcast. 24-hour bombing countdown initiated. All survivors, please evacuate to the designated coordinates. The three of us exchanged a glance. Let's go. Taking one last look at this cozy little home. My eyes grew teary. Goodbye, my home. Mr. House had already prepared the vehicle, packed to the brim with supplies. Plenty enough for us to reach the base. Along the journey, the scenery whipped past the windows. This once bustling city of hundreds of thousands was now nothing but ruins and rubble. Have you guys managed to evacuate all the survivors? Of course. Yang Tianzhen's tone was a mix of youthful pride and sorrow. Our base army isn't to be underestimated. Covering the evacuation, clearing out zombies, were top-notch while he was still bragging. The car suddenly slammed on its brakes. Mr. House's low voice rang out. Something's wrong. We haven't seen a single zombie this entire trip. It's too quiet. As soon as he spoke, a massive tremor surged from deep underground. The road around us began to collapse. A sudden mutation. Hold on tight, Yang Tianzhen shouted, simultaneously activating his flight ability. The car's free fall slowed, and we landed gently. When the dust settled, we stepped out of the car, only to find ourselves in a colossal underground cavern. I looked around, and soon, zombies from all directions surged toward us like a tidal wave. It's a zombie horde. Yang Tianzhen's expression grew intensely nervous. Mr. House immediately assumed a defensive posture, standing in front of me. Let me try. I tugged at the hem of Mr. House's shirt. He finally nodded. Okay. But be careful. The three of us fought back to back. My powers went from clumsy and unpracticed to flawlessly smooth. Yang Tianzhen also demonstrated the fierce power of his dual wind and flight abilities. Mr. House was as brutally efficient as always. Wherever he passed, zombies fell in swaths. The horde was quickly wiped out, leaving only a dense cloud of black mist in the distance. The black mist gradually dissipated, revealing a pale but handsome face. However, his eyes glowed with a bloodthirsty crimson. You guys are quite strong, he smirked. See you next time, and vanished without a trace. Yang Tianzhen's eyes were full of shock. That aura. A zombie king. Mr. House took us back to the car and we left. 2 days later, we finally arrived at the base. Thanks to Yang Tianzhen's connections, all our paperwork went incredibly smoothly. I arrived at the new home assigned to me. After unpacking, Mr. House cooked a meal, and it was as delicious as ever. As for the Zombie King incident, I didn't think much of it. I always felt that as long as Mr. House was here, I didn't need to worry about a thing. After settling down in the base, life gradually got on track. In my free time, I'd bring Mr. House and go on missions with Yang Tianzhen's team. Life was mundane but fulfilling. Until the news of a massive zombie siege arrived without any warning. We finally realized that we had underestimated the Zombie King's intelligence. A pitch-black sea of zombies seemed to appear out of thin air, on a scale far exceeding anything we'd ever seen. Although the base's Espers were strong, there were simply too many zombies. The defensive line was continuously pushed back. Despair began to spread. Suddenly, Mr. House looked at me. He touched the bracelet on my wrist. A gentle energy flowed into my body. Take care of yourself, he whispered. Then transformed into a beam of blue light, shooting into the sky. The blue light burst high in the air, turning into snowflakes that drifted down from the sky. Gasps echoed from the base army lines. Reporting, Commander. These snowflakes only attack the zombies. Any zombie touched by it falls immediately. I stood motionless, watching the heavy snowfall. Tears blurring my vision. The base won that battle. Returning to my room, my bracelet emitted a faint glow. A light screen unfolded in the air, and Mr. House's figure appeared within it. Fimeo, by the time you see this projection, I will be gone. I was very glad to meet you. I come from a higher dimension. I observed that Earth was about to face a disaster, and originally just wanted to observe humanity's reaction to it. But now, I just want you to live well. So I chose to exhaust my energy to help you all. Goodbye, the light screen vanished. And the glow of the bracelet gradually faded. I became the strongest Esper in the world. This was the final power he left me. 3 years later, I sat on top of a skyscraper, looking up at the clear blue sky. A broadcast was playing. Attention, all survivors. The zombie vaccine has been successfully developed. Suddenly, the bracelet on my wrist softly flickered. I raised my hand, holding it up to the sunlight. A touch of azure light, like a flowing galaxy, was slowly awakening within the bracelet.